some arm circles. Slowly, gradually bringing those arm circles wider here. With those wide arm circles, we're going to take it down here, take it back down small, and then reversing them. Arm circles going backwards now. While we're doing those backwards arm circles, focusing on opening up the chest as well as activating that upper back there, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Bringing them wider. And then bringing them back small again. From there, we got our hamstring curls. And while we're doing those hamstring curls, once we get into that movement, doing chest openers at the same time. Again, squeezing those shoulder blades together, opening up the chest here. We're trying to get some activation and some stretching while we're doing this movement. From there, we just have squats. Go ahead, guys, warm up those squats. I figured you'd want the spot closest to the door, but we'll need a mat as well as heavy sets. We're going to try to keep with those heavier weights most of class, as well as some mediums in case we want to regress down. No crazy shoulder stuff today, just some alternating shoulder presses. We should be able to get going with those. With those squat, guys, let's start by incorporating a calf raise there at the end. From there, guys, go ahead, hug those knees in. Hug those knees in. Then go ahead, widen the base out. We're just side, stretching those adductors out. Side shifting here. Go ahead, come back up. Hip openers from the inside out. Like we're stepping over a chair or some boxes that are in our way. And reversing them outside in now, outside in. All right, guys, rest there. Weights optional here if we want a little bit of external weight. We're starting lower body. Sumo squats here. Just normal sumo squats. What's that? Oh, absolutely, yeah. Not going to do any timing this round through, so if we want to hold some weights, we're more than welcome to hold some weights, but we got those sumo squats right now. While we're doing those sumo squats, try to activate those glutes as much as possible by coming up through the heel, trying to stay off the toes so we're not overly activating those quads. Once we're there, extend at the hips there fully. Get those glutes activated, hamstrings as well. Keeping it off the quads. From there, we're going to take it side lunge. If we're not so comfortable with stepping out as far, feel free to just widen the stance a little bit and then just alternate. Same thing here though, always pressing through the heels, trying to stay off those toes, especially as we're getting a little bit off our center of gravity or center of balance. We want to make sure we're still coming through those heels rather than those toes. Keep going there, guys. Our next movement here, we have two options. You either have a curtsy lunge, where that back leg goes back if you don't want to do the curtsy lunge. If we're not feeling too comfortable with that early on, we have a wall sit option here. Go ahead, we're starting that right now. For those of us who are wall sitting, we're looking at 45 seconds, about 40 seconds left here. Other than that, we got curtsy lunges. For those of us who are doing those wall sits, 15 seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want you guys to come up off the wall or off of those curtsy lunges. I want you to pick up your heaviest weights. And we have a straight-legged deadlift here, keeping that back straight the whole time, hinging at the hips, using our glutes, our hamstrings to come back up. Enjoying that stretch there as we're going towards the bottom. Once we feel that stretch at its max, we're engaging those hamstrings, engaging those glutes, rotating that pelvis back, and using that to strengthen ourselves up. Three, 2, 1. I want us to keep those weights in hand just to start off. We're going back to sumo squats. Trying to progress that up a little bit. If we want to drop down to those medium weights before we go ahead, feel free to do that. But we're starting those sumo squats in 3, 2, 1. Sumo squats, guys. Whether we have those weights up here, down here, or I know some of us like to put them on our shoulders, however we feel more comfortable. Three, 2, 1. I want us to try keeping those weights if possible. And we're going back to those side lunges. If those weights are getting a little bit too much, before we drop them, let's try just widening those feet out and going side to side before we put those weights down. We're starting that right now, guys. Again, even though we have weights wherever they might be, we're trying to focus still pushing through the heels. If they're up front here, we might feel a little bit more inclined to lean forward. Sink back in those heels. Drive off that heel. Two, 1. Hopefully still with those weights in hands. Curtsy lunge option, or with those weights, we're sitting back on that wall here. Weights can go in our hands or right there on the thighs. If we're putting them on the sides, let's try to keep our hands off enough that we can balance those weights if we need to balance them, but not pressing on the weights. We're hoping to hold this or continue this movement for about 40 seconds. Still to go. So if you're on that wall sit, you have 40 seconds. If you're doing those crouching lunges, it's at 30 seconds right now. "15 seconds, guys. If at some point we need to drop those weights, if we're doing those wall sits or the crouching lunge, feel free. Less than 10 here. 3, 2, 1. Grab those weights. Go ahead. Come on up, back up. And in a second here, we got those straight-legged deadlifts here. Go ahead and join me there. 2, 1. Feel that stretch. Utilize those hamstrings, those glutes to come back up. Full extension there at the top, you guys. Keeping that back straight on our way down. "20 seconds left, guys. Really enjoy that stretch now on the way down. Feel free to take a little bit longer on that down portion. If you want to get a little bit more of a stretch out of it, that's more than okay. 10 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys can set those weights down here. We're going to do a quick round of just calf raises. Helping out our heart a little bit by doing these calf raises. Really hard for the blood flow from our heart to get all the way down to our ankles, and then beat back gravity to come back up here. So we're going to spend some time strengthening the muscles of our lower legs here to help our heart out both today as well as going forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab a quick drink of water, guys. While we're grabbing that drink of water, I'm going to show you guys what our next movements are. We have a combination of a shrug. That's eventually going to lead us into an alternating shoulder press and then an alternating row. I want you guys to grab those heavy weights to start with us out here. Take a quick breath. We're starting again in just under 10 seconds here, guys. Just under 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, shrug. While we're shrugging here, guys, we're working on pinching those shoulder blades back. Don't want to just bring those shoulder blades up. We also want to bring them back towards the wall behind us. 3, 2, 1. Joining me up here, hands, alternating shoulder press. 'From there, we have 1 foot forward, alternating rows. You guys can join me right now, alternating rows. Really focus on pinching those shoulder blades together first before you start that movement. Almost like rotating that scapula back towards the spine, towards that center. Three, 2, 1. Slowly stand back up. We're going to repeat those 3 movements here. Starting with that shoulder shrug right now, pulling it up, squeezing those upper trap, those upper neck muscles here to bring up the shoulders. Almost at the top, hold at the top, hold at the top. Keep breathing though. This is an area that we're paying attention to because it can get a little tense while we're typing, but we don't want to allow this to hold our breath. We're holding for a little bit more, and then we have a 10-second down on my count. Down with me, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Let that stretch down. Then raise those dumbbells up. We have shoulder presses again. Feel free to put one foot in front of the other if that makes us feel a little bit more comfortable, so that we're not leaning too far back if some of us feel we have that tendency. From there, 1 foot forward, and we're rowing again. Sorry, alternating those rows. Hinge those shoulder blades, driving those elbows up towards the ceiling here, flat back at all times. Avoid laying that spine round forward. Two, one. From there, you guys can set your weights down. I want you to get a quick drink, and then join me here down on the mats. While you guys are getting that drink, I'm going to explain here what our next movement is. We have a chest press, followed by a chest fly, followed by 1 or 2 dumbbell pull over. Starting that in just a few seconds here, I'll let you guys grab your weights. Joining me, 3, 2, and 1. Chest press. Not allowing those elbows to come right straight into the ground here. Control that descent. Avoid any bounce at the bottom. Nice smooth transitions at the bottom and at the top. That's what we're going for here, guys. From there, I'm going to have you guys start with the weights up towards the ceiling. And then we're letting those arms, straight arms, out to the side here. We have a chest fly. From there, bring your arms back up towards the top here. You can choose to have 1 dumbbell or 2, but we're controlling that weight back and using our chest and our lats, or that big upper muscle in the upper back, to bring those arms back towards the center, towards in front of us. Three, 2, 1, arms up, and just right back into that chest press. Go ahead, extend those arms up front. Straight elbows off to the sides here. We have that chest fly. Elbows back up straight. And now we're doing that pullover. Arms overhead, reaching back. Pulling them back out in front of us. Five, four, three, two, one. We can set those weights down here. We're going to stay here on the ground. What we have next is a penguin exercise where we're coming slightly off the ground here and we're tapping our heels. We're going to go ahead, start that. 2, 1, penguins. Four, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna have you guys turn over here, facing down. We have two options here. We either have a bird dog. We're protecting the low back here, so we either have a bird dog. If we're not comfortable on our knees, we have Superman's here. Minute on the clock, so we're either holding that Superman for a full minute or we're alternating bird dogs. We are starting right now, guys. Go ahead, decide which one of those you're gonna do. If we're holding that Superman, arms, thighs off the ground here. If we have that bird dog, straight line from our wrist down to our ankle, opposite arm, opposite leg. Halfway through, if we're holding that Superman, try re-engaging, getting those legs up a little bit higher, torso up a little bit higher. "15 seconds, guys. Re-engage one more time for me. Less than 10, less than 10. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to stay facing down here. We have a 1-minute plank hold. Starting that in 2, 1, plank. Straight line from our shoulders through our hips down to our ankles. Halfway there, guys, I want us to check our hip alignment. If we're going a little too low or a little too high, let's try to find that straight line again. Re-engage. "15 seconds, guys. Keep breathing here. Try not to hold our breaths. 3, 2, and 1. You guys can break there. Go ahead, grab a quick drink of water. You can stand up here, meet me up here. Once you guys get that drink of water, feel free. Just meet me down here. We're just hanging out right now. We'll be in that position for a little bit of time. So if you ever feel the need that you want to come back up, that stretch is getting a little bit too much, on your own time here for a little bit, guys. Enjoy that stretch. Like I said, if it's ever feeling like it's too much, you have that right to come back up. Breathe there, even take another sip of water before you re-engage. From there, I'll have you guys slowly rise up here and spreading our legs a little bit wider here. We're going to reach over to one leg. Rising back up, switching over the other leg. Go ahead, raise up again here. Take that, leaning over to one side, stretching those interior legs, the adductor. Shifting our weight over to the other leg here, stretching the opposite side. Go ahead, come back up, guys. Open up your arms, stretch across. Open up again, opposite arm. Open up one arm behind the head, grabbing that elbow. From there, guys, I'm going to have you lean into that other side there. So we're getting a little bit more of a stretch up in our upper back. Now go ahead and switch. Starting straight up here, guys. Focusing on the tricep. And now take that and lean it, focusing on that upper back a little bit. If you guys have a wall here, we're going to go ahead face that. We're going to stretch our chest. And switching over to the other side. And then take that into a calf stretch. Go ahead, switch legs there, guys. Relax there. Come back to me, guys. Before we end off here, we have our 4-way neck stretch here just to get our blood flow back up to the brain here. You can put your arms off at your side. Chin's going to drop down to the chest, stretching the back of our neck. From there, raising up. Chin tilts up towards the sky. Head goes back. Front of our neck here. Back to center. One ear to the same side shoulder. Stretching the side of our neck. Raise your head up. Switching over to the other side, guys.